welcome to the Mission TV show. I'm very glad you can join us today. I'm Natalie Wood, and I'd like to share, before we get started with our special guests, I'd like to share with you a text. And the text that I have chosen for today is, "Go ye therefore, and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost." That's Matthew 28:19. And I'd like to ask today the question, what happens when the Lord tells you to go, therefore, not to another nation, but to your own nation? Today I have special guests with me, Joshua Subhash and Henry and Allison Thoms. And first of all, Joshua, I'd like to ask you to share your testimony with us of how the Lord called you into working for His other children.
Actually, I was born in a Hindu family. And India is filled with Hinduism. As you know, it is 80% of Hindu. And we got converted into Christianity. I always had a great burden to share the truth to the people. And so I was just, when I was 14 years old, I was just praying and fasting what God has for me for the next year, just before my birthday. And as I was just meditating upon the book of Isaiah and chapter 52, I just came across the verse 11, where it said, depart ye, go ye out from thence, touch no unclean thing, go ye out of the midst of her, be ye clean, that bear the vessels of the Lord. So I just thought that God is calling me to come out from the place where I am, and I need to share the message, because my grandmother and not many of my families are converted. So we get a lot of persecution in family and so on. So I'd like to go somewhere where I could have a freedom to share the gospel. So I thought maybe if I tell my parents, surely they will not permit me to go. So I just didn't tell anybody. I just took my small bag and the Bibles, not even took any clothes or anything with me. I just went to another state.
You ran away from home?
Yes.
At the age of 14?
Yes.
Okay.
I went to Orissa, and I could also speak little Telugu. So I was in the border of Andhra Pradesh and Orissa, and I'm trying to, on the way, I was just trying to share the message and all these things. Even though I did not have a very good experience, it was very unpleasant. Stayed some days without food and all these things, but I like those days. But to make the story short, that somehow my parents found where I was, and I was back to my home. And then again I was praying to God, Father, you are the one who told me, I saw the verse, and yeah, and then depart. So I need to go. But what is happening? Then I just meditated again. God impressed me too. And I was just reading the next verse where it says, for ye shall not go out with haste, nor go by flight. For the Lord will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your reward. So okay, God is saying something that I need to do before I could enter the ministry. And I need to prepare something before I go to the ministry. So God has promised me that He will go before and after me, and He will be with me. And that's how I had the burden and I had the calling.
Okay. So you have, in your life, you've built up to a certain type of ministry right now, as your education has led, and the Lord has just led in your life to a certain type of ministry. Would you share some of that with us right now?
Yes, actually, I came and studied in Wildwood. I couldn't even believe that God would even use me as a person. I never thought I would ever be like this, because I was so wretched in my life that God chose me, gave me a privilege to study in Wildwood, to gain such a powerful experience over there. And as I was there, it was a heaven for me while I was there. And the education that we went through, and all these things prepared me for something that we have started today as we call as a restoration ministry, because we see the very essence of the gospel is restoration. So we named our ministry as Restoration Ministry.
Okay. So what exactly is Restoration Ministry? What is the purpose and the mission?
Actually, restoring the mind, body, and soul is the main gospel's work. So we want to promote whatever way we can to reach the people. And as I was just coming across this quote where it said about the sanitarium work, in Testimonies, volume 7, page number 59, it says, "The Lord will give to our sanitarium, whose work is already established, an opportunity to cooperate with Him in assisting newly established plans. Every new institution is to be regarded as a sister helper in the great work of proclaiming the third angel's message. God has given our sanitarium an opportunity to set in operation a work that will be as a stone instinct with life, growing as it is rolled by an invisible hand. Let this mystic stone be set in motion." So I see God has given sanitarium the opportunity to move the stone. We see in Daniel 2. If that is the case, how many sanitarium we have in India? And that was a pathetic situation. And
Are there any?
Sorry?
There are a few.
Yes,
Yes.
there are a few. But
3 or 4?
Yeah,
I don't know
could
how
say maybe 2 as far as I know, but not actually as a sanitarium type, only as far as a training as more.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but India, you know, like among all the world, 80% of the people, 80% of Hindus are there, and we see it is mixed with different variety of cultural people there, and there are lots of sick people. It is even diabetic capital for diabetes and also for heart disease, and it's just coming up with so much of need for this medical missionary work over there.
Okay. You have a video to share with us at this time?
Yes. Just before that, I also wanted to say that what the world today needs is the revelation of Jesus Christ. And we see the gospel medical missionary work is a gospel practice, is a gospel, that is the revelation of Christ to the people over there. So after studying in Wildwood, we made a plan. Okay, we need to reach these people. And so we made a video that I would like to show you all at this point.
Well, the beginning, I guess, of this idea came because we have worked with Bill Dull for quite some time in India. We've been very impressed with the work he does, and from time to time he sends us a student. And this time it was Joshua.
I'm Joshua Subhash. I'm from South India. We are planning to do a medical missionary work in India.
Joshua is developing a team toward establishing as big a thrust in India as possible.
And he has been recruiting like crazy around campus at Wildwood and also in Uchi Pines Meat Ministry. And I believe he's got something like 30, maybe even 40 people that have a desire to go to India and do 1 month training schools.
Since I've been in Wildwood, I've seen so many medical missionaries training every term. So we want to really use these people, those who have the real burden for the truth and the souls, to be used in India.
When I first came to Wildwood, the Lord put me in a room with a young man named Joshua, and he was deeply burdened for his home country, India. And it wore off on me too.
Well, ever since I was young, I wanted to be a missionary. And India, places like India, Africa, and China, those places, the stories that came from there were really awesome. And I felt that this is one of the countries that I would really like to do mission work in.
The plan that we believe God would like to have is that every Adventist church member would become a medical missionary. So we have to try to reach the members of India as well as reaching the people that don't know about our faith.
To train other people in India, I myself will be a teacher. I'll be teaching certain classes like the Sanctuary, Daniel and Revelation, Last Day Events,
hydrotherapy, massage, you know, like the simple treatments you can do.
Herbs and other spiritual classes as well.
I have a burden to like, just, you know, like hands-on things that they can do to help others.
And so this is a way we can multiply ourselves, just like the disciples when Jesus took 12 men and he taught them for 3.5 years, and that 12 became 120 in the upper room. And then at Pentecost, it went into 3,000. And then after a few years, it turned the world upside down. So our goal is to work on the plan of multiplication. And that's one of the most effective ways to spread the gospel throughout the whole world, by training those to train others, to train others.
After conducting 1 month program in 35 states, we want to choose 1 or 2 families from each state and to bring them to the south where we are planning to have the main sanitarium and train them for 6 months. So all the time we are focusing how we can able to do the medical missionary work in the home. When we do this, we are going to reach each and every state, because each and every state speaks different language. So by doing this way, everybody gets the understanding and knowledge of medical missionary work. At the same time, when they go back, they themselves are going to reach their own people. And so there is no prejudice and things. And especially they are going to be involved in the work. So we are not just making members, we are making them disciples.
The reason I'd like to see this work done in India was not too long ago we had a gentleman over here, a Christian, with the Pentecostal church. And he had been to he came here on crutches actually to Wildwood, and he'd been to many places and nobody could help him. And in 10 days, with these same simple natural remedies, he was off his crutches. And so he said, I would like somebody to go to India and share these basic health principles with the people in India. And I got to thinking, that sounds like a good idea. So I went there for 2 weeks on his expense with a couple of other friends here, with the doctor and so forth. And since then, it's been a growing need, I see, to help thousands of people all over India to enjoy and to use the simple natural remedies which God has given us to not only get well, but to stay well.
Above everything else, we really cover their prayer. We know that without prayer, this work cannot be done. And maybe they may not be able to come, maybe they cannot be able to even pay a penny, but we really need the prayers of each and everyone, those who see this.
There's needs for people to be able to provide their daily food. There's materials that need photocopying. And so it's going to cost a little bit of money, a lot of money actually, but I believe it will produce a lot of results. And those 3 angels, they need to be financed to go around the world. So this is one way we can help in equipping these students to get the work done.
If you have had the training that we had, you know, like from UG Pines, Wildwood, or any of the other medical missionary courses, you can come and help and give your time and help teach the course also.
So anyone who has a desire for mission service, who feels the call, we'd strongly recommend that that person contact us and inquire about how they can help, either being a trainer or maybe one of the helpers, one of the organizers. Whatever capacity and gifts God has given you, you can use in this work. So if the Lord's tugging at your heart, it's time to make a decision.
So the 1 month program is going to be from January till April, and in the month of May we are planning to have a medical seminar which gives an overall understanding that many people may not be able to come for the 1 month, but this medical seminar is going to be for a week. So most of the people will be coming there, at least able to get an idea of why the medical missionary work is important and what could be done in the medical missionary work in the last days of this world, why this is really that we need to get involved in.
If you can go to India, you've got the rest of the world to go to if you want to go overseas. If you can't go overseas, there's a work right on your own doorstep. There are people all around who are needing this medical missionary work right here in the United States. So there's a work to do for everyone, young and old.
I know that means is not all, but we have the true people, those who are really burdened. I'm mainly focusing on that, but at the same time, I know God is going to provide all the means, and especially they can write a check to Wildwood, Light India, and they can support each of our ministers.
Wow, that was an interesting video that you shared with us there, Joshua, about the plan. So this was all taped here when you were finishing your course at Wildwood, right?
Yes, that is true.
So that was your plan. So what has happened since this video?
Actually, it's not my plan. There was a time that when God just woke me up at 2 o'clock. I mean, of course, I just get up in the middle of the night sometime, and I feel burdened. I sometimes pray and study. But this point, it was a heavy burden on my heart that I need to pray for my country. I started praying, and then the next day, again, at 2 o'clock exactly, and I was feeling the same burden. And I started praying. At this point, I was led into several studies that God guided me to. And I also was studying each of those. Wow, I thought, so many thoughts are coming. It happened continuously for a while, and that God just directed me to several things. For example, I was thinking, okay, if you're going to have a sanitarium in India, how much it's going to cost and how we are going to raise the money and all these things. But God guided me. He's saying to Life Sketches, where Illinois tells to the church member, when people were sick, what the church failed to do, I took the sick people and treated in my home. So sanitarium or lifestyle center not necessarily need to be a huge building. And then God guided me to another verse where it says in Call to Medical Evangelism, it says that even if the buildings are rude, don't worry, you start treating the patient. Wow. So we don't need to be focused on buildings or anything. We can have a home sanitarium is what I thought. And then so from that place, it was beginning. There was God who was guiding me from the point. So it was kind of nice to plan on the paper, and nothing costed much. But while I was planning, I did not have even money to take myself home back. But I'm planning for 30 or 40 people to take to India. But I was kind of nervous when I wanted to step in India, because there are lots of things that I was planned to do. We want to have a medical seminar, the light 1 month and 6 month training course, and we had medical magazines that we want to bring forth, and all these challenges. I'm just stepping in India and going around all these places. In January 2009, we were planning about it, and June 2009, I went to India. From June until December, I was making the groundwork. I just trying to go all around the places and try to see, find coordinators where we can able to have the 1 month light training programs. So we went around. During that time, people here they were raising the money and getting the people. And until the end of the point, they couldn't have any money or the people. It was so difficult for them to have it. But God provided on time when it was needed.
So He didn't come, the Lord didn't provide everything long time in advance. Everyone had to keep praying.
Yes, it took a lot of prayer.
God does that a lot.
Yes, I like that. It is a good experience.
Yes.
And so in December, this is what we had. From America, there was a group of young people, those who are dedicated for the Lord. For example, in GYC, they met like Swin Paulaya, and Diana and Philip and Lucian. So there are some young people, they gathered and they thought, we want to do this to India. And they met me and asked me that I could be the part of it. And it was such a privilege to be there with young people, fire on Christ and having the same mind. So we want to really have this kind of work in India. So we were planning for a long time, and we had this in December in Bangalore.
Okay.
And it was those pictures, and we had Pastor Randy Skeet who came there, and he gave a wonderful message. It just broke all of our hearts, and Chester Clerk was there, and we have Uncle Bill there. We call him Uncle Bill, and he's there and sharing our message, and myself. And this is the team that was planning, and the presenters, all those people. Oh, fine. So
we went backward.
yeah. So, okay. So it was a blessing that after that we had several testimonies that the people could share. This is the team that we had. And nearly 120 to 150 people came, and many people were touched. And this particular person, Austin, he was sharing, he was never cold portraying before in India. And for the first time, these people went and colported their experience.
That was part of the Ignite?
Yes, Ignite.
Okay, they went out in groups and did colporting? Okay.
And these people went to door and started selling Great Controversy. He sold this Great Controversy to Hindus and Muslims, and it was amazing testimony. He was on fire for the Lord. And so I really pray that it should continue to happen. And we are planning again for another thing in December near Pune or Mumbai.
Now, was this for just anybody, or were they specifically hoping the youth would get involved?
This is mainly focused for youth, and still if other people would come, it's fine.
That was
but
great.
Mainly for the youth, we want to empower. And they can also visit our website. It is sayj.org, which means South Asia Youth for Jesus.org. So it has been a blessing. And then planning, so we had the CJ going on, and next we had the January 1-month light training programs in 8 places. And so we had these other places mainly focused on South, and also we had in Ranchi, West Bengal, and okay. Yeah, these are the places we had the 1-month school.
Okay. Okay, now most of them were in Tamil Nadu then, and we had one in Kerala?
Yes, we had one in Kerala. Our main focus was at least train and prepare a team very intense, and then to send to the next places that they will go and reach. Okay. And another difficulty we had is each state speaks different language on its own. So we want to at least focus on particular group, and then they go and share. Of course, from here, people come from Andhra and several other places, Bangalore, Karnataka. So we had people coming from different places.
Okay, good. So you got started.
Yes.
Now, Henry got to go
as
part of this team.
It was a blessing to have them there, and people are really blessed.
Okay, did you have something in particular Henry was going to share with us?
Yes. What are your experiences maybe over there and home?
Okay. Was it just like home when you got there, Henry? Did you walk in and say, wow, this is just like home?
Anything but. As a matter of fact, India was actually one of my very first mission trips. And so I really didn't know what to expect. And then on top of that, of the different reports that I heard, it started making me even question, do I really even want to go there? But, you know, the Lord still kept that door open, and he kind of always nudged that way, keep going forward. And so when I did actually arrive there, I didn't know exactly what to expect, because I've heard all these different stories and different reports, and then I was actually leery and not knowing how to go about things. But very first thing there that I happened to see when I came out of the airport is this here water drinking fountain. And when I seen that, I thought, what am I looking at? And I was really surprised that the conditions were not that hygienic. And here we even have a bathroom, and I thought, whoa, I've never quite used something like this before either. And I was even afraid sometimes to even touch things. But God was kind of showing me that I have to learn to live with the surroundings and to make the best of things. Even as far as the very first night, we also made just various different accommodations, some sleeping in the chair there or others on the floor.
This is my friend Sean, and I happened to go to his house when I came here, and it was comfortable, but I'm so sad that they could be able to adjust with this and sleeping on the floor. He has been with me from the beginning until the end of the program. He's such a blessing there too.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, so with the various different students, yes, he was of course one of them. And we all had our different experiences, which we were all very thankful for. And what we had learned over in the sanitarium or Wildwood, we also had to give the same kind of things there to the other people that we were going to teach. Okay. But we just condensed it into a 1-month program. And so these were some of the students that I had. Some of them, of course, were teachers, translators, and so forth. But with each one, they all have a different experience to tell, and they all had learned so many different things. One of them that they had great interest in was massage and hydrotherapy. And they also had different topics, from Bible studies to sanctuary. That was also something that had made a great impression upon many of them. And but hydrotherapy is one of the things that I had really seen while I was over there that became a real asset. And they had learned these different things there upon each other with just the very simple things that they had. They didn't have some of the things that we have like in the sanitarium here. Towels and blankets are very limited in certain aspect. And, but they used what they had. And so we had showed them how to use the very simple things. And even some of the people that had come and attended were physicians such as this, Kumar. He was, from the higher class of the Indians. And he was very, very blessed. Yeah. And so he was very thrilled with all the different things that he's seen and learned.
He saw how it could be used to help the people even from a regular medical standpoint and perspective. What a blessing.
And so with those things that we were teaching them, they also had to learn to put into practice. And so then they had a health expo over there. And so there too, they again taught the different things, whether it be exercise, whether it be hydrotherapy, whether it was that on nutrition or the various different topics that we had of the 8 laws of health. And then they were to eventually go out and to reach the unlearned. And the people over there, some of them are so poor that even sometimes when they had a shack like that, but it ended up eventually being broken down, they had nowhere else to rest their head except to be right in the street and just lay there and sleep.
Wow.
And my heart went out to these different people, and the more I was with them, the more my heart just grew to love them. And so I can really say, I don't know who was really getting the greater benefit, if it was those that had been with me or if I was just with them.
Right. Right. Well, we're going to have to stop here. And we're going to have to come back for part 2. Thank you for joining us on the Mission TV show today.